What up, Corner Crew? Welcome to another episode of the Hip Hop Happy Hour podcast brought to you by the Culture Corner. I am your host, as always, Brad Bailey. And without further ado, I want to jump right into today's guest. He's a very well-renowned director, photographer, owner of SandoFilms Productions, Scott Sandonato.
What's up, everyone?
How's it going?
Just one correction, not a photographer.
Oh, I thought you were a photographer.
It's not my profession. I do mostly video. I get lucky with pictures once in a while, but it's not something I actually do professionally.
See? Learn something new every day.
That's true.
SandoFilms. Welcome to the Hip Hop Happy Hour podcast.
Thanks for having me, guys.
I know it's been a long time coming. We had to reschedule a couple of times, but better late than never, right? Better late than never. I want to give a shout out to Uncle Evan. He couldn't be here tonight. He had a little family obligation, but shout out to Unc. And I like to start off every podcast by saying, for everyone out there that doesn't know you, tell us who SandoFilms is.
Okay, well, just to give you a little rundown, my early life was basically I was a criminal for like 20 years, selling drugs, doing all stupid shit, got in trouble, got locked up.
Right.
When I get out, when you get out, you get 12 felonies in your record. There's really not much work out there for you. So I started originally working with this guy, Tom Cheer. He's a coach. I was shooting Taekwondo and I was going all over the country. And I started to build my brand that way. And I was like, I really want to get into the music scene. So I started going to hip hop shows and just started networking with people and, kind of using my street knowledge from my past to apply it to this with a different product, which is video instead of drugs. And I lucked out, man. I mean, I took a lot of buses and trains to shows and, not being able to get into shows and then trying to find a way in. And it took me a long time to really build. And, now I'm in my 11th year and now I'm starting to get recognized for my work through the bigger award shows and getting to work with bigger artists. And, it's just, I loved hip hop my whole life, man. Like 14 years old, I heard the message and I was hooked. I was a break dancer, so I mean, hip hop has always been in my blood, and I just had to find a way in to be able to do what I love, and which is doing video,
So what made you pick up a camera?
Well, as a kid, I always wanted to be a filmmaker. I wanted to be a director, something to do with filming. So when I watch movies, I watch it in a different way. I look at angles, I look at the lighting. And I try to apply that to things I do without doing it exactly the same way. But it was kind of like, watching movies growing up was like class for me. But the real reason I wanted to get into hip hop, and this is an interesting story. So my friend Gina was over my house, and we were watching videos, and we were watching a Slane video. And I said to her, I love this artist. He's like one of my favorite local artists. And I said, man, I'd love to do a video with him someday. And this is before I even thought about doing music videos. And my friend Gina says to me, she says, you know what? I bet you're going to meet him and I bet you're going to actually do a video with him. And I think it was like 6 years later, I ended up doing the first two videos off his One Day album. And that was like when he called me and asked me to do it, I was humbled, man. Like I was just glad to be able to work with somebody. It was something that I dreamed of doing and I was able to actually do. So shout out to my friend Gina because she always believed in me and she pushed me when nobody else really did believe in me.
All it takes is that one person to push you and believe in you.
It does.
And it could change everything. It really could. Speaking of Slane, you've worked with everyone in the New England, New York area, basically. You have a very extensive catalog.
If it wasn't a music video, maybe I might have filmed it at a show. But yeah, I mean, I get around, man. When shows were more active, you'd see me at a show on Friday, and then you'd see me like in a different state on Saturday, and I'd see the same people like, dude, how do you get around? I'm like, if it's hip hop, I'm gonna be here. That's what I do, And it's not always just about making money, like I'll just go out and shoot a show and just have it just for hip hop, because I love that shit, man. Like, and there's not a lot of guys that do that, just for the love of hip hop and be able to cover the scene and be a good music videographer, which I am.
Right. Yeah. Someone needs to document it too. It needs to be documented the right way and not
Well, that's
just
the thing.
camera phone.
Every show I've ever filmed, I still have. I have hard drives, full. I go 2015, 2016, 2017. So, I mean, I have all that stuff. So someday I will do a documentary on the local hip hop scene. Like, I have the footage, I have everything to do it. So that's the long game plan.
Now, I want to go into film it when you're filming a live show. What was your best experience, the most fun you've ever had filming a live show?
Oh my God, there's so many. I love shooting Chris Webby shows.
Yep.
He's one of my favorite artists, and just a super cool guy. Like, hang out after the show, and he's just mad cool. And the guy, he raps his ass off.
Right.
And then I've had opportunities to film with some really big people, like, several members of Wu-Tang, Jizza, Redman, Method Man. I got to shoot Rick Ross last year. Ghostface Killer. Like, I mean, the list is so long, it would take up the whole show. I've been able to get into certain shows that I didn't think I was going to get in, and then all of a sudden, one of the biggest ones was the Art of Rap. It was like Rakim, Slick Rick, Bone Thugs, Ghostface Raekwon, Ice-T performed,
Wow.
EPMD. I mean, it was like, my buddy just called and says, "Hey, you want to get on the show?" And I'm like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he got me full backstage. I had a dressing room with all them guys in the back, and I'm smoking blunts with Rakim. Like, I mean, I'm just like,
Right.
I'd never in a million years ever thought I'd be in a place like that.
So where'd your mind go when you're sitting there, like amongst all these people that are legends, really?
Well, that's the thing. The first few people I shot for, I was like, when you see somebody that you listen to your whole life, you're kind of like, starstruck a little bit. But I learned that you can't be that way. They would much rather you treat them like a regular person and just be normal, and it's going to go better, because I've tried both. And it's hard. Like, somebody big like Rakim, like somebody that was very influential in me growing up, to just be in the same room with him is like godly. But I mean, I kept my composure. He was really cool. He gave me some good shout outs. I gave him my card, stuff like that. So it's surreal sometimes, but you gotta kind of keep a cap on it and just treat them like normal people.
Right. You got to be professional too.
Absolutely.
You don't want to be known as the fanboy guy.
No. Definitely.
Yeah,
not.
no.
They won't let you in no more. Like,
Exactly.
You gotta have to be professional. Exactly.
But I want to step outside of actual hip hop, and I want to know, who were your influences as directors?
Oh my God. So when I first came up, some of the guys that I learned from, and they were actually very helpful to me, like Rose Glenn and Mr. DL, Kyle Beneke, Ben Proul, who I got to be pretty close with. I mean, he's super talented. He's done some huge videos, Grammy nominated. Ben Cassani is unbelievable. Like, he's one of my favorite out here. Josh Bliss Light, and all those guys are like, I still watch all their stuff, and I'm still influenced by them, and now I'm like a colleague of theirs, and it's super cool, But a lot of these guys were so helpful in the beginning, and when somebody's coming up, you're like, I don't want this guy coming up, he's gonna take my competition. But they were all super cool. Like, I had a lot of questions about cameras and lenses and lighting and stuff like that, and they're always right there to help. And it was really cool to be able to get that information from them guys,
Right. Now, how about film directors? Do you take any influences from the movies that you've watched as a kid and try to put them in?
Not really influences in my work, but I mean, some of my favorite directors is Scorsese, Spielberg, Tarantino, the Coen brothers. Like, those guys are like some of my tops.
Right. Dope. We got a question from a viewer. It says, what do you think about Chris Cunningham?
what do I think about Chris Cunningham?
Right.
Who's Chris Cunningham?
I'm not sure. He must be a director.
I think he's a film critic. I don't even know to tell you the truth, so I can't answer that question.
That's all right. That's all right. Well, sometimes we'll get some fan questions and keep rolling. He says one of my favorite music video directors, so he is a music video director. But I want to go back to I asked you about your favorite experience directing a live event. What about your worst experience at a live event?
How can I say this without? All right. Well, in general, there's been a couple, but like you get there and then your name's not on the list. They don't have a media pass. Then you get over and they tell you that you can only go on this side of the stage, or like you can't go behind the stage at all, or you're putting the camera too close to the artist. Like there are things like that that can really bring down a shoot. But I mean, for the most of the part, I mean, I've been doing it for so long that like when I go in to do a show, if I see other videographers or other photographers, I know how to work around them without. I mean, some of these new young guys, they just walk right in front of your lens, like they don't even give a fuck.
Right,
and
right.
It's like there's kind of like an etiquette out there where you see other people doing work and you try not to like get in their way and work around them. Some of these guys are on stage with these huge contraptions of stabilizers. And I'm just like, just hold the camera steady. Like, what do you need all that for?
It's like the cell phone world that people just feel like they're just shooting with a cell phone and just walk right in front of each other. So they just don't think.
The looks I get from people when I'm doing a professional shoot and I walk in front of a cell phone and a girl go, what are you like? I can't even like, all right, so you got a $500 phone and I'm on here with a $5,000 camera and somebody's paying to do this and you're mad because they ruined your horrible audio iPhone video that nobody's going to care about. I mean, not to be a dick, but like, it's the same thing. Weddings is the worst. Like I do weddings too. And these people pull their phones out, they get mad and they're like, this person paid me thousands of dollars to film their event. You got to chill out. So a lot of these weddings I do, they say no phones. Because they want their video to be, not a bunch of people holding phones.
Yeah, exactly. How's that look in the background too?
Exactly.
Phone out, and yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. It's the cell phone world, though. It's kind of like hard to avoid. Everywhere you go, somebody's shooting. Somebody's doing. Have you ever thought about making a movie, directing a movie?
When I started out, I started out doing some acting. Just local stuff, background acting. I was in like Black Mass and Ghostbusters, a couple other movies, but just, walking by in the background, nothing big. But when I was younger, I did take some film classes and I shot a Super 16 on film camera called Late Night Players. It was about these four guys going to a club and I never finished it, but we put a lot of time into it, a lot of work, and I actually have the reels. I just have to go to that next step of getting the negatives done, and then you got to digitize it because it's on regular film. You'd have to cut film on a Steam Deck if it was like that. But I mean, I've written a couple scripts based on life experiences that someday if I get to that point, or if I had a budget and I could do it the way I wanted to I would. Yeah, I'd love to do a feature film, and I've worked on a couple, smaller feature films in the area, just, whether it being a gaffer or, running for the, being a PA or something. I've done everything film wise, every little job there is, I've done them all,
No, it's good to learn. It's good to learn everything to be a director, though. Active.
You learn so much being on sets and seeing people who do it for a living and the professionalism and the lingo, and there's so much to it.
Now, who are some favorite? I'm sorry. Who are some of your favorite people to work with, video-wise? The guys that you've worked with in the past.
So some of my favorite people to work with, Cynical. He's pretty tight. I met him probably 3 or 4 years ago, and I've done all his videos since. And it's funny. He's a really funny guy. Like we'll get on set and we'll just rib each other the whole time and just. Right. And his little brother would be sitting here like, do you guys even like each other? I'd be like, this is just how we are. But I got a good relationship with him. XL the Beast, Me and him are super tight. I've done several videos for him. He's given me a lot of work, and he's become like a really, really good friend of mine. And it's good to have that. You know, he is a client, but he's also somebody I can just call up and shoot the shit with, and you know, he's my boy. I love working with Slane. I mean, there's so many to you know, it's hard to really single out, but those are some of my favorites. I like working with Problematic a lot. We've done a couple things together. So Brandy Blaze, I've done a lot of work for her, and she's starting to come out the gate with some good stuff this year. She's doing a release party. She's going to be opening up for the Foo Fighters, Boston Calling. So it's like me and her were together. We started off together being like nobodies, and we kind of just both went in different directions, but kind of still with each other. And now we're like, we look back and we're like, wow, I just remember those little bars that we used to, you know, she used to perform in and I would shoot at, and now she's doing these big stadiums, and it's crazy, man. And I love to see people advance and do well. Like, it's no fun doing it yourself without the people around you that are growing as well.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to see your friends win. You know, you have to, and that's kind of what the Culture Corner is about too. It's like where we want everyone to be included, everyone to get together, network, build things together, you know, and move forward and try to make some money. Do what you can, you know.
Yeah, we gotta all support each other, and we gotta stop trying to take each other down, man. That's how it is in Boston. It's just, I'm better than you, and
oh yeah, it's cutthroat.
We gotta support each other. Like I try to. I don't think I have any problems with anybody on the scene. Like, I try to work with everybody, and I've had people say, "Oh, I don't work with that person because I don't like them," but I'm not gonna do that. Like, I'm not gonna just like take a job because you have a problem with them. Like, I am universal. I'm biased to everything, and I work with anybody.
Exactly.
As long as I like the music. I mean, there's times I've had some pretty bad tracks sent to me, and I'm just like, I don't think it's for me. You know, it happens.
Right, yeah, you can be picky and choosy when it comes to music that you want to put your name onto. Also, your logo is the first thing they see when the video goes up. So you still have to be protective of your brand.
Yeah, and you don't want to just throw your logo on something that if you're going to think is trash, because it's your name's on there too. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah, I want to say a quick shout out to my buddy Kenny Williams. Yeah, he's one of my really good friends, and when I'm up in Boston, he lets me crash his place. And super supportive of me, so shout out to Kenny.
Definitely shout out Kenny. But I have another question for you when it comes to working with the artists and the video shoots. How much of the ideas put into it are theirs, and how much of the ideas of like the concept of videos are yours?
Well, it's a mixed bag. I mean, there's a lot of artists that will come with a treatment, and they'll say, all right, these are my ideas, this is what I see. And usually when something like that happens, and Cynical, he's one that always does that. I mean, he sent me a whole write out thing, and then I'll listen to the song, and I like to listen to it 10, 20 times in the car and really get a feel for it. And I'll start to see stuff come to my head, but with his treatment in mind. So then I'll get back with him, and I'll incorporate my ideas with his ideas. But, you know, not every artist comes with a treatment. I have a lot of people just, hey, just do what you do. And, you know, when you think about it, it's like, if you're going to write a treatment for a video, it means you really care about your music and you really care about the vision that goes along with it. If you have an artist that comes up to you and says, let's just go over to this graffiti wall and, you know, we'll just bang this out, and like with no any kind of idea at all, it makes me feel like they don't care about the music, and like it's like it's on my shoulders to come up with something to make it good, which I can do. But I do love when an artist comes with a treatment, because it just makes the whole process easier. You have a basis, and then you can incorporate your ideas, and then together come up with something really cool.
Definitely. Yeah, when an artist has no idea what they want to do, it's kind of uninspiring, and it must be uninspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be really hard to try to work with something like that. I can imagine.
No, and then there's artists that can be difficult. You know, working with artists is not easy, but you know, when it comes down to it, if an artist tells me, all right, I don't like this, even if I like it, it doesn't matter if I like it. because this is his art. This is his vision. So I'm always, when I work with an artist, whatever they say is how it's going to go in the end, because it's their product. But I will incorporate ideas, and most of the time they're open to it. But there are some that say, no, this is the way it's going to be, and I have to respect that, because it's their music.
Right.
You know? And
Exactly.
I want my customers to be happy. I want them to have a good product, and I want them to be able to want to come back and do more with me.
Now, what would be who would be your holy grail artist to work with?
Who would my whole Eminem? I mean, come on.
Really?
Absolutely.
Really? Do you have a concept in your head of a video that would go to any song?
No idea, but I mean, it all depends on what the song's about. But I mean, he's just one of my favorite artists, and he's somebody that I could have hope to work with. Even if I just go into a room with him and interview him for a half hour, I mean, that would be the balls, you know what I'm saying? But it's not that it isn't possible. I mean, I've worked with a lot of artists that are connected to him. I just shot a video featuring Bizarro D12 last year. So it's like, and Bizarre's like, he watches everything I do. So if he didn't see that, then he definitely saw the early stuff I did with Griselda, because they used to be on Shady Records. So, I mean, I'm sure I probably just a blip on his screen, but I'm sure he's seen something I've done.
You have a long list of, I mean, your catalog's amazing. It really is. When you think about it, you've worked with everyone, like really everyone.
I've been lucky, man. Shout out to Leeds, because he is a huge part of how my career was able to jumpstart. Because once he started having me come to shows and doing the recaps, and I get to work with all these great artists. He's got me so many different artists to work with over the years. So, and he's another guy I've become really good friends with. So shout out to Leeds Entertainment for all he's done for hip hop in the past 15 years.
Definitely shout out Leeds. But do you have your eye on any younger artists that you want to work with?
I'm actually working with a couple right now. I just started working with Yamaine Regret. Young girl and very talented. We just shot 2 videos. I did a recap for her the other day, and then I started working with this other artist, Leroy Street, and he's really good too. So it's like, I love to see somebody new coming up, and they kind of don't know where to go for video, and you got to kind of sell them on it. And the girl, it was actually funny, because she had reached out to me and she said, he sent me the song and tell me what you think. So I went back, got back to her, and I really picked apart the song, and I told her what I loved about it, and I liked the message. And she says, you know what? I've sent this to several different directors, and they come back with, I like it. Let's work. And that's not going to sell the video. Like, you gotta put the work in and actually listen to the song. I mean, some people might just hear a song and be like, yeah, $500, let's go. Like, and not even really like, I really need to listen to this artist to know if it's something that, somebody I want to work with. And if the message is good and the rap is good, I'm there. I'm down.
Right. When an artist is willing to jump into just about anything, that's when you got to kind of like take a pause and think, tell them, say, let's think about what we're doing.
I did a lot of that in the beginning, and it was mostly because I had to pay bills. And, I did do a lot of videos that I kind of regretted, but, it's there forever now. So all you can do is just do better work, and you should be okay,
Exactly. Artists evolve. You just keep evolving every day.
Yep.
But we have a question here that we like to ask, and it's pretty popular. It's what's your issue? Now, it could be the tiniest little issue that is like one of your little pet peeves, or it could be your world-ending issue. So, Sando, what's your issue?
Oh man, I got so many issues.
you can rattle off 2 if you want.
All right, so if we're talking about like pet peeves, all right, so if somebody that, like, I've had a few apprentices over the years, and people I've worked with, and when they're new, they don't really know anything. They come to the shoot with their batteries half charged, or their card's full, or they're late, and it's like, I mean, when I come home from a shoot, I dump my footage, I triple back up, I get all my batteries charged, everything's ready to go if I have to go out the door at any minute, because you don't know. I've had so many times where people call me and say, oh, can you come to the show? I know it's like only a half hour. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Right out the door. Everything's ready.
Right.
So preparation for me is a big thing. So people I work with need to be prepared too, and that's one of my pet peeves.
Yeah, I'm a cook, and it's mise en place, everything in place. You know,
Oh yeah,
it's the same concept. And yeah, that's one of the things that drives me nuts at work. It's like, come on now, you go in the next day, you expect everything to be the way you left it for them. You know, and it never is, but it's a
true.
battle. It's a battle constantly. Now, we went on the topic of the people that you love to work with. You want to name off a couple of people that were really rough to work with, or situations that were really rough to be in?
Okay, so I was working with this artist, and his name's Ty Hunt, and I love you, Ty. Nothing against you, but um, we had done 2 videos together, which he loved, and then we shot another one. And I sent him the cut, and it was just a rough cut. It didn't even have effects. And then he just kind of like he just went off the rails. He's like, "Oh, it's not what I wanted." We got this huge fight, and he said, "I just gave him my footage. I gave him the footage. He had somebody else cut it. It was okay, but he never let me go to the next stage." So we had a riff for a while, and my boy Van Bates, rest in peace, Van Bates. He got us on a 3-way call because he knows both of us, and he's like, "Listen, we got to straighten this shit out because you guys are friends." And then we worked it all out, and then we ended up doing 2 videos after that. But yeah, we butt heads. But
Right.
it got to a point where it was like, all right, we're done, and then we fixed it, and then we did a couple more videos after. But I wouldn't say I hate working with him, but he's just difficult as shit as hell. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you get those stubborn people, but artists, man, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
they are what they are.
Honest, that's true.
Yeah, I have experience from promoting the shows, and it's like, yep, you know, after you promote a few shows and you deal with, it's not that it's a bad experience, but it's just you're trying to juggle so many different personalities. You know,
Yeah.
especially if you have like eight artists on a bill, you're like, okay, here we go. So, but sorry, coming down with a cold. I'm coming down with a cold, I think.
Oh no.
Yeah, the weather change, man. You know, Rhode Island, we went from 30 degrees yesterday to 55 degrees today. Well, how long you been living in Rhode Island?
I moved down here, and I've been here. This is going to be my 3rd year here.
Not
And
bad, not bad.
yeah, I love it down here, man. I'm right on the Mass line. It's only 46 minutes to Boston. Um, every store you can think about is like right in the area where I'm at, so it's super convenient. But I do want to get plugged into the scene down here. I know there's a hip hop scene down here. I gotta get plugged in with some artists.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a bunch of guys already been established down here. But it's like starting from the ground up all over in a new city. But
exactly.
I mostly work out of Boston. So
Yeah. Yeah, there's a bunch of artists. Unk can hook you up with a lot of them. Chach would be a really good one to get in touch with. Chach is a young kid out of Providence.
yeah,
Doing
actually, I reached. Unc put me on to him, and he was supposed to be opening. I think he was opening for Rock Him or something, and I messaged
Yeah, he
him,
did.
and he said he had his own guy. So I
Yeah.
tried.
Yeah, exactly. You know, all you can do is try. I was actually at that show, the Rock Him show at the Strand in Providence. It was a
That
good,
must have been
good
fun.
show. There was a sound issue though. For
Yeah.
some reason, there was a sound issue, but there's usually a sound issue at least one out of every 3 shows. You'll get some sound issues. But have you ever toured with a particular artist as like their cameraman for the entire tour to document it?
I have not. I would love to. Like when I first shot a couple of Benny the Butcher shows, um, I did the first one he did in the Middle East, and they loved the recap. So then they invited me out to New York to shoot at Sony Theater. And then when they came back to Boston Paradise, they had me again. I was like, I said to the guy, I said, any chance you guys hire me for the tour? And they're like, oh, we already got a guy. And I was just like, so why are you bringing me out here then?
Right.
But
Oh, they
I
like your work.
I'm 50. I'm gonna be 52 this year, so I don't know how much longer I can run around the camera the way I do. I mean, hopefully I'll be able to go into my 70s, but I would love to bang a tour out before the time comes. And that's all based on the artists you work with. Like if Cynical all of a sudden blew up and he got a tour, I know he'd put me on. you know, because he's one of my go-to guys, and I'm his. And you know, when you grow together. So it's like you work with as many artists as possible, and one of them's going to pop, and hopefully they pick you to do their tour. You know, I mean, I put in enough work in shows to show that I can definitely pull it off. You know.
Yeah. It's a workout too. It must be a workout just trying to catch all that footage and go around those crowds and
the venue, the harder it is. You know, Middle East was nice because, you know, I knew all my spots and I knew that place like the back of my hand. But you go into some place like I shot Godsmack at Xfinity Center. Now that place is huge. So like for me to go and get all the angles that I get, I ain't going way back there. Like I'm old. I can't be running upstairs. But yeah, the bigger the venue, the harder it is. Big Night Live's kind of tough, but there's some great angles in there. That's a great venue to shoot in. The sound, the lights, insane.
That's dope.
But I do miss, you know, we had so many hip hop shows when I first started out. I feel like I was doing like 2 or 3 a week at least. You know, and then, you know, when Leeds stopped doing shows in the Middle East, there's just not so many as there used to be. And I miss that because I do love going to shows. Like that's the best place to network with people. You know,
exactly.
Because when I first started doing the shows, you know, when I worked out a deal with Leeds, I said, I'll do a minute recap if you give me free tickets. And he's like, that's cool. So he gets a minute recap, and then I hit the openers up to see if they need work, and that's how I make the money.
Exactly. Yeah, you know, exactly.
So it worked out for him, it worked out for me, and I got to meet so many different artists and work. Middle East is where I met a lot of the artists that I got to work with.
Yeah, Middle East is a mecca of underground hip hop. That was where the Hip Hop Life is, where we did our last show in October on the Halloween show. Was at the Middle East upstairs.
Yeah, I was going to come, but I was booked. But
it was a dope experience. A dope experience of being able to, in the first year, to be able to book that place. Yeah. You know, that was a big thing for us at the time, definitely. But
definitely going to miss it.
Yeah, I can't believe that they're really going to tear it down and.
I mean, they are going to put a new music venue, but it's not going to be the Middle East.
It's not the same, right?
Something different. You know, there's just a feel about that place. You know, the stickers everywhere, the wooden floors. You know, like it's just all the amazing artists that have come through there. I mean, you name them, they've been through there.
Exactly. That's how it's just the atmosphere, and you can feel it. You can feel it in the air.
Yeah, and I wish I started a lot younger. I missed so many like epic shows in the Middle East. You know, I forget the show, but I think it was a Scarface show, and DMX just showed up, and he comes on stage. He started, and like I was like, oh man, I wish I could have been there. And speaking of DMX, the last show he did at the Strand, I was filming with one of the openers, so I already had a media pass, and I was in there, and I was ready. Right, I had the best spot, and I was ready to go, and I waited, and I waited. And I waited, and it was like 2.5 hours now. I'm standing in the crowd waiting for this guy to come out, and he never showed. So I got so mad I left. And as soon as I walked out the door, he came on stage, and I missed it. It wouldn't let me back in, and I missed it. And that would have been his last performance, and I would have been able to capture it. It destroys me because it's like, you know, I missed a great opportunity because I got mad and I didn't wait it out. You know, some artists are late. I don't think I've ever been to a Wu-Tang concert where they were on time back in the day.
Right. Now, the level of patience that you have to have, where does that come from? Because me personally, I don't have patience. I can't wait for things. Like I can't even order Amazon overnight delivery without getting upset.
The key is what you're going to get at the end of it. So if I have to patiently wait for an artist to get on, to get that footage, when I'm cutting it up here and I'm looking at the stuff I shot and it's somebody that's a huge artist, that's the payoff. So you have to be patient to get that payoff. True.
You're absolutely right. Very wise answer. I have a question I like to ask. What are your 5 daily essentials? 5 items that you can't get by without every single day.
All right, my car, my computer, water, snacks, and inspiration.
There you go. Inspiration.
Because,
That's a good.
because the majority of my work is done right here in this office. I mean, I go out and do shoots, but the longest stuff is the editing. So I need all my stuff to be on time, you know. So when I come in here, everything's ready to go. I don't need to get up for anything, and then I just get to work. And I'll sit here for 4 or 5 hours in a row, just cutting and doing stuff because I like to keep everything on time for all my clients.
Now, did you put yourself through any type of film school, or did you just learn everything on the fly?
Nothing. When I started filming for the Taekwondo team, I had like a video camera. I had nothing. But he says, "Why don't you come and film this tournament?" And I showed it to him. And he's like, "This is like ESPN." He goes, let me get you a better camera. You know, so like, he taught me a lot of editing. I learned a lot about editing from Hush Harding, who I came up with when I started out doing hip hop. I was in No Muzzle with him, and we shot a lot of videos. All my early videos I shot with Hush, and I learned so much from him. But the majority of the stuff, if I don't know how to do it, YouTube. So I would say that I have a YouTube diploma as far as, you know, editing. And then once you get into the software and you start moving around it, then you start to grow and you start to get faster at it. And, you know, I think my first music video I ever did, it took me like a month to shoot and cut it. And now I can shoot one and have it done in the next day or by the end of the week.
That's dope. It's practice, right? Practice just like anything else.
Yeah.
See if we got any more questions from those viewers.
I can't see the chat. I don't know why.
There's a box that says private chat and then comment.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. Inspiration. That's a good one. I haven't heard that one yet. So that's definitely a good answer.
I mean, there's no product without inspiration. Like, once you lose inspiration, you lose the drive to want to be able to be creative, I feel.
Exactly. What inspires you daily?
To be better and to grow in this industry and keep moving up the ladder. Like, that's what drives me, no doubt about it. You know, I came from a you know, a criminal life, and you know, I killed my parents with all the stuff I did in my early years, and it probably took years off their life. But you know, my one goal when I started this was I wanted to make my parents proud, and like, you know, being nominated this year as the music videographer of the year, just that nomination was, you know, I mean, they've been proud for the past 5 years, but that was something that just was like, I wanted that so bad, just for them, just to make them proud, because, you know, they supported me. I got out of jail, I had nowhere. I had to go home to my parents, and you know, a lot of my early equipment came from my parents. They paid for it, but they believed in me as I was starting to get better, you know. And you know, now they see where it's come, and they know they were right to be able to believe in me. So shout out to my parents. I love them both. They really, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. So
that's a dope answer too, man. That's a dope answer. It's one of those ones that hit you because my parents are both gone, so it's like I was really young too. Well, I was 27 when my mom passed, and so it's like, you know, it's like I don't have that. I really wish she could see some of the things that I've been able to, you know. So that's a really good answer. SandoFilms, where do you want that to be? What's the pinnacle of SandoFilms to you?
I mean, I don't really want to be famous, you know, but I would like the name to be known outside of, you know, New England. You know, I would like to branch into New York and you know, do some stuff in California and, you know, Miami and wherever I need to go. Like, I would like to make it, you know, countrywide where I'd be well known, you know. But I started this very late, you know. Like I said, I'm 52 years old. I wish if I started this at 20, who knows? But
exactly,
I got 20 good years left of running around with the camera. I mean, I can always edit, you know, into my 90s, but running around with the camera isn't going to be something in my future. You know, when things start to get broken and old.
Right. Yeah, exactly, man. I feel you. Have you ever thought about expanding into having employees and cameramen? And
you know what, I mean, if I won the lottery, I'd probably build a studio and hire a bunch of people. But I really like working by myself. Like I've worked with a bunch of people, and you know, there's a couple of people I've worked with that the work is excellent, but you know, that maybe they might have lost the drive a little bit. But it's got to be like, I lost my train of thought here. But what was the question again? I'm sorry.
Would you want to have a business, like have it,
Oh yeah,
have
have employees.
employees
Yeah,
and
so like I said, I'm a one-man team. I like if I'm shooting it and I'm editing it, I know it's going to come out the way that I want it to be. But if I was, yeah, like I said, if I was going to get a studio and I had, you know, a good budget or investor, I would bring on more people, you know, but you have to think, you got people working under you, under the SandoFilms name. So if they don't bring that quality work, that's, you know, and a lot of people don't want to work with somebody that's not me. Like they want to work with me specifically. So, you know, I mean, I have no problem doing it myself. It's nice to have help, but I can do it. I've been doing it.
right, been doing it for a long time, man, long time. Killing the game too, killing the
Thank you,
game.
man. Appreciate
You got a new video coming out. It seems like almost every week or two a week sometimes, and you're working with everybody.
And sometimes that happens. Like I might have shot it 3 months ago, but they're just releasing it. And sometimes it's like 3 drop on the same day, and they're like, "Oh, he's busy," but I had shot them months ago. I got a new one coming out with Black McLeod. It's the first time I've worked with him solo, so that's coming. And I got another one coming from Abyss, and I'm shooting a new one for Cynical, and then one this weekend for EC Fam. They're out of Miami. They used to be known as E-Class, but originally they were Venom back in the day in Boston. And if you're from Boston hip hop scene, you'll know the name Venom. Great guys. Another 2 guys I love working with, Enzo and Ev. Shout out to them. They always take care of me. They put me up in hotels. They pay for my meals. They get my gas. Like, you know, these guys they're doing it, and they take care of their people, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's good for the artists to take care of the people that they're trying to work with, because once they put their name out there when they're not working with them well, then it gets around. And just like anything else, especially with social media nowadays, if you're an asshole, you're going to be labeled an asshole across all streaming platforms. You know, that's just how it goes.
And you know, in the hip hop scene, we're all connected somehow. So like if there's somebody out here doing shady shit, it doesn't take long for it to get through everybody. And then, like you said, you're blacklisted. Like you rip somebody off, or you take a deposit and you don't, you know, do the work, or ghost somebody, or, you know, steal somebody's footage. I mean, there's so many things that can happen out here, but you know, you gotta be 100%, man. You know.
Yeah, you really have to be. You have to be straight up. But like, especially like a promoter, you got to, if you're promoting shows, be straight up. Don't be a pay to play type of guy. Have you ever been asked to pay to record a show?
Hell
no. No, but they'll pay. They'll ask the artist to pay to play. That's it. It's why.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it would make no sense to have me pay, because I'm going to shoot it and it's going to be out there and it's content for them. So
right,
they usually pay me.
Right. So, that was just a shot in the dark, because some promoters are dick.
I actually, let me strike that. So when I went to go shoot Benny Butcher in New York City, I paid for my own train, my own hotel. They just supplied me with the media pass. But they kind of should have paid me, don't you think?
Right. Yeah.
You know, but it was New York City. It was Sony Theater. Benny was huge at the time. It's an opportunity. So for me to put out a little money to get that opportunity, get that footage, it was worth it. Jadakiss showed up. Black Thought was there. So like, it was so worth it just to be able to shoot them too.
Exactly. Yeah. Never pass up an opportunity. That's we talk about that a lot on the show. You never want to pass up nothing. I shot a podcast today that has nothing to do with hip hop whatsoever. But he reached out to me, asked me to be on his podcast. I'm not going to pass up the opportunity.
No.
You know, especially to get my brand out there, because that's basically what this is. This is a brand in itself. And that's one thing that artists don't get, is they don't promote themselves enough. I don't think. Like,
or too much.
Right. It was all, too much of the guys that'll tag 99 people on Facebook. Those are the guys that are too much. But How do you
Yeah,
feel?
as soon
How
as
do
I
you
came
go
out,
about promoting yourself?
what's that?
How do you go about promoting yourself?
Well, I mean, when I started out, it was just the SandoFilms hat, and I would wear this on the train. Then I got the jacket, and I'm on the train, and people see, oh, what's that? They look it up, and like that branding for me was like I had SandoFilms on my hat, on my back, all over my pages, and also too with social media. I try not to be too personal. I try to keep it all business. I don't get
Right.
political. I don't, jump in a fights. I'll never tell you who my top 10 rappers are for the reason that every time you write that, you get 50 people here telling you
Yep.
you're wrong about your fucking opinion of who your fucking favorite rapper is. So I
Right.
don't even do that list no more. But yeah, I mean, I keep it all business. It's like, you can't, if you're having trouble in your life and you ever running a business on social media, you really can't get personal like that because it just,
Exactly.
I think it hurts your brand.
It really does. It really does. And I mean, some people think like anything is good press, but really it's not. It's
It's
not
really
at all.
it isn't.
Because it's like anything, like how if you're putting your name out there on something bad, if you're recording something that you don't have your full heart into, it's
Yeah,
basically the same idea, and then social media is a tricky thing to navigate. It really is. Because
right.
there's so many different platforms to use, and it's very versatile. It really is, and it's a tool that we could use better, in my opinion, than like
Great.
most of what you see out there. Um, TikTok. Have you ever thought about expanding into the world of TikTok?
Leeds tells me all the time. He goes, "You need to get a TikTok. You need to get a
You
TikTok."
should, man. You should.
I should, but here's the thing. Like, I'm not really one to go on and do like talking to a phone type videos. And the videos that I do for artists, they have their own TikTok. So I can't really take their content and put it on my channel. Most of the stuff I do is for other people and, they pay me for the work. They own the work. I
Right.
mean, it is a way some artists would like to have that extra promotion, but they want to get their own views and their own comments and I understand that. So like
Right.
my YouTube channel, you go to my YouTube channel and there's not really a lot of content on there because everything goes on the artist pages. If I do something like if I do a passion project, like it's a show, it's a hip hop show, you'll see it on there. So I'm working on a couple things right now. I got a new director's reel coming out because I haven't done one in a couple of years. I got a new camera, so I want to put out some new stuff. And then I used to do the year in hip hop every year, which stopped with the pandemic. There was no shows, so now I have 21 and 22, and I'm just going to release it as a double year in hip hop, and it's all the big stuff I've shot over the past couple of years. I kind of do that every year, and I get the shout outs from the artists and all that stuff. It's a good way to show the stuff I showcase in hip hop in Boston, and also give light and shine to some of the local artists that perform. They get to see themselves on there with the bigger artists.
Right.
So,
Right. And that's big to them. That's really big to them, having that little piece of promotion. But I'm telling you, man, the TikTok, you could do it with just cutting up clips of shows that you've done, put it out there. It's what? How many people? 5 billion people are on TikTok.
I've been thinking about it. I'm just
Yeah, it's definitely, you'll reach a lot of people. You definitely will. You'll reach, your fan base will blow up exponentially. It's wild. It is. It really is a wild. And a lot of people have been going off on Twitter, and I'm not a fan of it. Not going to use it.
I'm on there, but I don't really. If I do something big, I'll post. But it's not like
Hmm.
I'm not on there like I am on Facebook and Instagram because
Right.
I feel like it's less personal and it's just I need to see more content than just a tweet.
Yeah, it's like the wild west of social media
Oh
too.
yeah, oh
It
yeah.
really is. It really is. We're gonna be wrapping this up in a few minutes. So now it's time to shamelessly self promote yourself.
Okay.
So what you got? What you got coming up?
Well, I just told you I got the Block McCloud video coming out. I got one coming out from Abyss that's new. I just did a show for BSG Brockton Soldiers Grinding in Brockton with Cheeto's album release party. Styles P was there, So I get that coming up, and then I got, yeah, I mean, that's it. I'm just, I'm waiting for all these shows to come back because January, February, pretty slow for me.
Oh, I know.
It's
It's
probably the
dead.
slowest it's ever been. But now, people are starting to call in. I'm starting to book up for March and April, and I get some shows even in the summer. So, I mean, you know where to find me at SandoFilms, everywhere, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and, anybody wants to do a video or a recap or an interview or anything you need filmed. I do commercial work. I do weddings. Anything you need done, baby's birthday party, I got you. So
Anything.
hit me up. I'm running a special through the end of March. Inbox me for details. And that's pretty much it, man. Thank you for having me, and I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on, man.
All right,
Seriously.
man.
I'm glad we got to catch up finally. And
Absolutely.
thank you for spending the hip hop happy hour with us.
No problem.
And I wanted to say shout out to Big. Rest in peace. Rest in peace,
Rest in
Big.
peace,
Today's,
Big. It's the
today's a rough day for hip hop, but we've been getting through it for this long, so we'll still get through it. But again, everyone, we appreciate you guys tuning in with us tonight. Hip hop happy hour. We're out.